Guess who's back in the house? Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Need I Remind You podcast. This is Yolanda Youngblood. If you are joining me for the first time, welcome. Welcome to a new season 2, episode 1 of a podcast that was born last April and is back this April. And I love this for me, like having new season in the springtime. That was totally divine and God-given. I did not plan or strategize this. If you did not check out season 1, please do, but I will give you a brief synopsis. So this podcast was born out of some mental health challenges that I was having, but also some community challenges I was aware of and not getting what I desired from my community when I needed mental health support. And I told myself, I am not alone. I know that wherever I go, I am not alone. And if I am to offer something up in my story to someone else who feels connected or who feels a little bit less lonely, that's awesome. And however you feel listening to my content, cool. That's awesome. It started as kind of like a hobby. It still is for me. I don't see myself as a podcasting aspiring person. I am an aspiring writer. That's my focus. So yeah, you're going to get what you get out of this podcast is what I'm getting at. I come on here with a little bit of framework, a little bit of structure, but mostly me just talking about what's on my mind and what's on my heart. And so that's what I'm coming back with. I have a lot to share, rooted in joy and pleasure and exploration this season. Last season was really me just trying to take up space when I felt less than, inferior, confused, angry. And I was really using that space in season 1 to just feel the way I feel and have compassion for myself and extend that compassion beyond myself as well. Because I believe that we're all interconnected, and when I heal, others heal as well. So I feel healed, and now we get to do the joy stuff. We get into the joy parts and the liveliness parts, but they're also in that joy. There's still very real moments. I don't want to negate or bypass like this is a linear experience of healing. My life has really been. I don't even know. I don't care to map it or try to articulate it in this platform. I just feel like you just go with things. You do your best, and if something else comes up, that is just a part of it. Nothing is linear. Like this is just all messy and transformative and working itself out. And I'm just happy to be here and still be able to open up my airways to express myself out of love, not fear. That was another reason why I started this podcast, because I was feeling fear about talking about my mental health experiences and challenges that I've experienced over the past few years, and just feeling a little bit like, or feeling a lot of bit vulnerable, susceptible to being punished for having been psychiatrically treated and involuntarily hospitalized and just labeled and othered and excluded and judged and, just all those things, called crazy or delusional or off or incompetent, or, just let's just rain down on the labels that people use to weaponize how they treat people and how they justify treating people in a way that is less humane and less dignified. We all are inherently worthy of respect, dignity, and care. I don't care what act or expression we have or get on others. We all deserve dignity, respect, and care. That is my belief. That's my knowing. And, it's taken a minute for me to really get back to wholeness and oneness. But this podcast has been a great tool for me personally to process and develop beyond traumatic experiences and trauma in general. So I am really grateful to be here. I'm grateful that you are here listening. And on this episode, I want to get into something that has been on my mind and on my heart, which is around community. And I want to talk about community. I want to talk about connection. And I want to talk about love and art. I say a lot in that, but what I'm getting at is the beauty of art being a connector to community, whether it be the art of conversation, the art of hobbies and interests, the art of just being with each other and having just space and stillness to dream and to imagine and to create. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. And what speaks out to me and has been speaking out to me has been the importance of choosing love, choosing community, and choosing art. Now, I am deeply inspired by Trisha Hersey and the NAP ministry. Yesterday, I was able to join a community virtual study of a piece of Bell Hooks' work that we went through. I believe, let me get the right title now. Let me go through my journal pages because I like to say things accurately. The piece was called Love as the Practice of Freedom. It's a 6-page PDF online for free if you want to Google it and read it for yourself. But the piece was about love ethics. And Bell Hooks is the mother of this for me as a Black woman. She and her books have really spoken to me and my family and friends. And it's so good to connect and acquaintances, and just so good to connect with that amount of knowledge and wisdom. So shout out to the NAP ministry for hosting that free space yesterday on a beautiful Sunday afternoon to just gather and talk about the piece of work, and to just, we couldn't get into a full discussion because it was an hour and there was quite a bit of people on the call, but it was really healthy to just have a moment to remember creative ways that we can just slow down and tune into community and declare what we yearn for, declare what we are missing, or maybe we haven't been prioritizing as much because of other priorities and obligations that really block us out and keep us from remembering, oh yes, I care about my friendships. When's the last time that I've connected with this person or reached out to this person or did something for myself and said, I'm going to go and try something different. I'm going to take some space for myself so that I can remember to rest or remember to relax into my creative space and pick those projects back up or return to those relationships and offer up my vulnerability and say, I miss you and I want to re-engage with you. Are you still here? Have we missed the moment, or are we still present enough to be able to re-engage and reignite our connections with each other? And I say that to the people in our lives and the relationships that we may have deprioritized, but also to our art and the projects that we have deferred and pushed in the back of the closet and said, not now, we don't have time for that. Like, I got too many things to do, or I'm just so tired. That tiredness has really set in for me. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I think I'm hearing it more from people around me, that there's just not as much energy in our beings that we used to have. And I think it's because we have gotten away from the community connection, true community connection that says we got each other, and it doesn't have to be an orchestrated big production. We just got each other, and it's a ordinary, regular, consistent thing. And it can be an extraordinary thing as well. But not to negate the ordinary and the simple and just the kind acts that we experience from day to day with each other. The thing around creativity that I've been inspired by. So I've been rereading The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, I believe is the author's name. And so I've been taking myself on artist dates, going to museums, going for walks. I'm going to the movies later today to see Sinners. I'm really excited about this film, this Black film based in the South. I'm excited as a Black Southerner. Everybody has been talking about it, and I'm just like, ooh! I love that when I'm just like, I didn't have no expectations. I really was like, nah, I'm good on that movie. And then I started hearing the buzz and the consistent buzz, and then hearing the art and the intentionality behind the direction and the cast and the production and the deals that were made. Like that turns me all the way on. I get so excited with intentionality and bravery and just going into territories that aren't explored as much, and just get creative with it. And especially when it comes to the South, the U.S. South, and my people. Like, obviously I resonate because that's where I'm from and that's where my people are from. And yeah, I'm just excited. My excitement has leaped up 10x from where it was when I initially heard about the movie. So I am very excited to take myself on an artist date later on today. And also just being more intentional with my writing practice. Reading The War of Art. I was about to say The Artist Way. And actually, I'm getting them mixed up. So The Artist Way speaks of the artist date and taking yourself on dates to ignite your creativity and your artistry. The War of Art, right now, as I'm rereading it, I'm in the chapter and in the section where he's talking about moving from amateur to professional. And I have been a real amateur when it comes to my art, when it comes to my writing practice. And, even when it comes to this podcasting, I would say, yes, I'm an amateur, but again, it's a hobby for me with the podcast, with my writing practice. I want to be a professional and I want to see it bloom into more out of the love that I have for writing and the art of writing. And so just being more attentive and deliberate about my writing schedule, just delaying gratification, not being so anxious about what is it going to be? What's going to be the title? How am I going to get this published? And, getting all caught up in the gloss of it and not focusing on the meat of it and the heart of it. So I've really, over the past 3 weeks, been very intentional of shifting my focus and my seriousness around writing, allowing for joy and fun to be in there because you gotta relax. Artists have to relax into their work. I believe it can't always be so serious and intense. And for me, just as someone who has prioritized my health, my physical health, my mental health in the past few years, I don't mess around with that. So, my boundaries are in place for me to not let my artwork turn into a form of work that I've let go of, which was unhealthy and manipulative and just unboundaried, and not having those clear boundaries to say, like, okay, when you walk away from something, you walk away from it. Like, you don't just keep going on and neglecting your health and your other areas of your life that you care about, such as community. So I definitely want to continue to focus on my writing and become more of a professional in that way of developing my voice and developing my craft so that I can share more with you all in that way. And that I can ultimately feel proud of how I showed up in the rigor and integrity that I gave to a piece of writing. That is very important to me. I'm not just trying to throw out content when it comes to my writing. That's a no-go for me. That's a no-go for me. It's available. I have writing and I have plenty of things that I can throw out and throw people a bone and make those things snappy and catchy, but that's not what I admire. That's not what makes me proud. That's not what brings my heart peace. So I'm not gonna do it. Not right now. We'll get to some other things later on about how to sustain my livelihood as I'm in this season of connecting to art that is not paying me, that I'm not getting paid for. How do I continue to pay my bills and take up space for the things that I want to do and the things that I need to do, while also keeping this fire going in me for my art and for my writing. So that's something that I'm still working on, and I hope to share with you later. And if I find people along the way, new artists, which that would be so cool to find more artist friends or meet more artist acquaintances and things like that, as I start to ground in my areas, in my location, my physical locations, to connect with artists and develop more community, more sustainable community with artists out there. And I think I'm of the belief that we all are artists. We all have creative beings just dwelling in us, ready to be cultivated. I do believe that you get to decide and identify however you identify. So if you right now don't believe that you're an artist, I totally respect that. I'm not gonna, no, you're an artist, you're creative. I don't, I don't do that pushiness and like trying to force people to believe in themselves. That's just energy wasted, in my opinion. But I do believe that we can create if we choose to create, and no one is here to be the judge or jury on who is artist enough to do that. So I am an artist, I am a writer, and I am deeply honored to be on this journey back to community and love and reclaiming the space for us to create and dream and imagine new worlds together that serve us all in ways that nurture our well-being and our health, not only our mental health but our collective health. That's going to take some real some real imagination and reinvention that, quite frankly, I did not and have not seen in my work career. And so that's why I left my work career and took up space for myself and really started to look within. And that was the best choice that I've made in my life, to say that a job is not going to be the center of my life, is not going to be the thing that I prioritize for most of my day. And as Bell Hooks has said in her All About Love book, there's more context to this statement, but this statement was real when I read it for the first time and the second time, which was work depresses the spirit. Period. That's all she said. She said a lot more. Obviously, it's a book, but that one sentence was just singing in my ear. Jobs depress the spirits, or work depress the spirit. The point is, I agree. I agree. I agree. And I want more people to decenter their jobs, even if you don't quit your job and quit your career like I did, to decenter it, to not put it on a pedestal, to not be so over identified with your performance reviews or your ratings or how people see you and judge you in those roles. And I know it's tied to your money and your benefits and your livelihood for you and your family. I know that. And so I also know that there are infinite ways to navigate that truth and the truth of choosing yourself and having more agency in your life and self-determination in your life that does not, again, revolve around something that is depressing your spirit and keeping you from your other creative ventures or your other desires to be connected to community or yourself or all the above. I think that jobs and the condition of, especially in the West, in the Western society, the conditions have been deeply clear that people in external power, people in political seats want to dominate and control individuals and keep us in line and in order for their self-interest and their pockets. And I just choose not to engage in that and to shift away from that ideology and that belief that my life is somehow less deserving of time and space and energy to to be well and to be creative. And I don't think any of us are inferior to each other or superior to each other. I think we have to get clear about the ways we label each other and how we label our character, how we judge people and start to isolate people or exclude people and punish them for the way they are or how they express based on your conditioned mind or beliefs. We really have to start to check in with our mental conditioning and the ways that we think about each other, because it's really doing some damage to our connective tissue. We're here, we all we got, and for me personally, being labeled and being judged and being or feeling ostracized and feeling left out has made me retreat and move away and say, like, you know what, I don't need this, I don't deserve this, I don't want it. And that's my right, because wherever I go, I know I can foster community and connection and heal those broken parts of me that was disappointed in my past or that has been disappointed in my past. But I also recognize that everybody does not have the access to retreat and leave and start over somewhere else and do those things for themselves right now in the way resources are unfairly distributed and so unevenly distributed. And so I choose to re-engage, not be here on my island, not be here off in the sunset forever. I do believe that I am ready now to re-engage in community building and community sustainment for, again, the benefit of all, not just the people that I think are most vulnerable, but it does truly ripple out to everyone, even if it makes people uncomfortable or the resistance and fear goes up. That's going to happen anyway. So I choose to operate in my values and offer up my love in the best way that I know how. So I'm back on this channel to do just that. And most importantly, I am off this channel in real life, being intentional about how I connect with my community and start that re-engagement so that I can really support the change in the world that I want to see. So that is where we're at. That's what's going on for me. I do want to just do a brief recap and say that love is not weak. Being vulnerable is so necessary. Being spiritually connected is not woo-woo or fake. It is so necessary to be connected. Creativity and art is not frivolous or just for kids or the elderly. Like, we as adults, we as, working people, or however you identify, like kids included, elderly included, everybody on this earth is deserving of art space and having the space to create and to dream and to imagine. And like, I'm looking at my notes and I didn't really have complete thoughts around it. But when I say love is not just, weak or sentimental or like lovey dovey and squishy squishy, I think, again, shout out to Bell Hooks for expanding so much language around this and introducing the world to other artists and authors like M. Scott Peck and, you know, bringing up the content of Martin Luther King's beautiful love languages through his writing, and just making sure that we know like love is transformative. Love is very powerful. Love is not just sentimental. It's not about just romance and feeling affection and attentiveness. It's about responsibility. It's about honest communication. It's about honest and open exchange. It's about it's about so many other things. Get into the reading, getting into the knowledge of Bell Hooks. Start with All About Love and grow from there. And when I say that, it lands in me that before we can reach for another another book or another this or that, it's also important to look within yourself in the ways that you judge and label things and value or devalue things. If you're labeling love and art as frivolous and sentimental, or just like this little fluffy thing, or this emotional things, or that's just for the soft ones, or that's for them, that's not for me, I don't really deal with that. That's where you have to start, because if you don't value it, then how's it going to grow? Why would you invest in it? But if you are curious and open to the concepts of love that have not been advertised or promoted as much, that's a great place to start. That is a really great place to start, and I applaud you for that. And just know that you are not alone doing that. I have done that and am doing that time and time again, and it is so interesting. The more you get into something, the more you learn. The more you learn that things have been intentionally blocked from us. And that's when I just throw down the pen and gotta go for a walk sometimes and just breathe it out, because to know that things have been consciously hidden from us or taken from us and erased from our narrative is a disservice to humanity. So I'm just here to tell you there's more to the story. There's more to the love story. There's more to the art story. There's more to the community story than the things that have been advertised to us, or the hurt that you may have experienced in your past. Like, there's more to the story. So give yourself a chance to experience that. You're here anyway. So you might as well try something different, and just know that others are trying it too. So you're not alone. And if you feel alone, just keep going and know that it won't be forever. Stay tuned in. Keep the channel open. And I hope that you will come back for the next episode. Take care. Be kind to yourself. And I'll talk to you later.